Hello and welcome to Jumbula tutorial videos. Today we're going to be reviewing the registration form. So going directly to it, when you are building your classes or programs, as you've seen, you'll have different sections. So usually you have your basic information, schedules, and finally the forms. So this is within the setup wizard. When you're creating your registration form, you'll notice we do have a general default and also one that's called default school. So the default is a more general template with basic questions, and of course the default school is one that we've elaborated with some additional questions that are usually common within programs that are taken directly at schools. So let's say at this point you're getting ready to customize and work with your own default. So in this example, I'll select a default school. Next thing you will do is click on Manage Registration Forms. As soon as you do that, you'll see what this form looks like right now. So what are the questions that we have enabled as default? And so this is basically what families would see when they are registering online. So you'll notice we have like a participant information section, school information, parent guardian, authorized pickup, emergency contacts, medical information. So kind of like the basic details. But you'll notice that there is a lot of questions that we have what we call standard fields, which are hidden and you currently can't see them here. So when you're ready to adapt or to customize your own template, what you will do is click on the edit loaded form, and then this is where you'll be able to start to customize your own. So let's go ahead and click on edit the loaded form. So at this point, what you see is each section becomes this rectangle. And if I do click on the actual rectangle, then it drops down and you see the actual questions within that particular section. If I scroll down, you'll notice that we do have a bunch of sections that are kind of grayed out, which means that they're not currently active. Let's say, just to give an example, that you want to add this insurance information section. So all you would need to do is when you hover over this, you'll get this eye icon. And as soon as I click on it, then that means that this section has been enabled. If I click now on that section, then it drops down and you'll be able to see which are the questions that we currently have active within that particular section. So just going over another example, let's say we go now to the participant information, and under here you might want to activate the date of birth. So in this case, again, you go to the date of birth section, click on the eye icon, and that's going to automatically enable this field. So in general terms, all of these fields that are either enabled or hidden, we call standard fields. One thing that's important to keep in mind is that all of these standard fields are then automatically linked with the family profile. So once a family is going through the registration and they're filling out all these details, as soon as they submit that order, our system will automatically create a profile for the parent, for the participants. If you decide to create any custom questions or custom fields, which would basically be, let's say that under this participant information, there's something very specific that you need to add, but you don't see that we have that standard question. What you would do is when you hover over the entire section, you click on the plus sign. Now you can add a question. When you click on that, you'll see you have a variety of different types of questions. So you can create something like a text box, or it could be a drop-down menu, or it could be like a radio list. So you'll have different types of questions that you can create. If you go ahead and create a new question, just keep in mind that that particular information, although it will be retained and it's something that you can review with custom reports, it won't be part of the actual family profile, and therefore it will not automatically populate, let's say when this particular family is doing another registration and they're going through that same form. So that's just one important best practice to keep in mind. As much as possible, try to utilize these fields that we've created. Again, what we call the standard fields. If you are creating a new question, and again, you've saved this as a new template, then that's going to be retained on the new template that you're utilizing. So other important things to keep in mind, some enhancements that we've made. For example, if you go to the parent guardian section, we did add a new address option, which again, in this case, you can see this one is hidden. So all you do is enable this new section. And now you'll be able to see that this is an active question under this section. The idea is that you might not necessarily need to use a contact information section. You can just use the address within where you're collecting for parent guardians. If you have two parents and for any reason they might have different addresses, then that's a good way because now you can collect those addresses individually. You'll also notice that under the address section, if I go to the edit tool, we did include an address type. So now under this drop down, you have a US address, Canada address, or international address. So just to let you know that you have these different options. If we go down to the next section, let's say we're looking at the authorized pickup. We also do have, towards the bottom, you'll see that there is this field called "This person is also an emergency contact." So if you do activate this section, this is a good tool if the authorized pickup is also an emergency contact, and all they would do when registering is check the box, and that way they don't have to go out and fill this information again for contact information. We've also added on the participant information, you might have noticed there is a grade section, which is also available under the school information. And this is really just to give you the option. We've seen it frequently that some clients use it under participant information and some use it under school information. So just to point that out, by default this will be active under school information, but you can always hide this and enable the one that you have under participant information. So after you review all your sections, make sure that you've activated the questions that you need. At this point, you're ready to save this form and continue. So basically, when I go to the bottom and click Save and Continue, you'll notice that because I made changes, the system is now asking you if you're saving this under a new template. So let's say we're calling this Summer Camp. And now I click Save and Continue. So this, by default, it's going to automatically select that new template. If I click on this drop down arrow, you'll be able to see all the variety of different templates that I've created under my account. So remember, you'll always get started with the default or the default school, and from there you'll be able to customize that form as much as needed. Once you're ready to go, you save. Now you have that template that you can reuse for any additional programs that you're completing. So now, once the family actually goes through the registration and they fill this out, as I was mentioning earlier, that information is going to get populated over to the parent dashboard. So now I'm jumping over to the parent portal, and under the Home tab, you'll see this is a list of the children and participants that are under this account. The first item here is the parent guardian, and then I have the different children under my account. So just as an example, if I click on the first child, this will give us the general information. And again, the data that we see here is based on what was collected during the registration using the online form that you have just created. If I were to go to another question, let's say we're going to the school. So again, this is based on the information that was filled out during the registration. So the idea is, again, just to keep in mind that when you are creating your custom forms, as much as possible, try to use the standard fields that we offer. That way you make sure that that information is getting populated with your parent portal. But we understand that you might definitely need to customize some information. So in that case, all you need to do is just consider that that won't be part of this profile and it won't be out of field, but that's data that you can definitely utilize. So just going back to the beginning, so you've seen how you can create your new forms, how you can manage and edit them, and then eventually how that information is passed over to your parent portals. Hope this tutorial has been useful, and see you soon again. Thank you.